Jagmeet Singh, the NDP leader, has just penned a letter to the Prime Minister asking for changes on the government's proposed wage subsidy bill. He wants to give every Canadian $2,000 a month. But why should rich people get this kind of funding? Let's find out. Jagmeet Singh, the NDP leader, joins us from Toronto. Mr. Singh, first of all, great to have you back, and hope you and your loved ones are well. In this letter you wrote, you want to make this Canadian emergency response benefit of $2,000 a month available to every Canadian. Why would you think rich people who have jobs should get that money when we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars and we've got homeless people and we've got industries that are collapsing? Why give $2,000 to rich Canadians?
Well, the reality is that those who don't need it will be taxed back at the end of the tax season next year. And the other problem is that you just mentioned it, 3.5 million people have already applied to the CERB. The reality is it's not going to be adequate to respond to the needs of people. It's simply far too complicated to have a means test where you've got to go through, figure out who qualifies, who doesn't, and all the while, millions of Canadians are currently falling through the crack, more will fall through the crack. It's a cumbersome, inefficient system. If we send the supports to everybody, like other countries have done, everyone gets the help they need right away, and those who don't need the help can be taxed back in the next tax season. But we don't have people falling through the cracks. Because the Liberals are so focused on making sure those who don't need it don't get it, what's going to happen is those who need it will also miss out. And for me, having
but do you really believe... But I'm just trying to figure this out. You really believe, and I get it, there are those falling through the cracks and there's complexity issues. But do you really believe the best answer is just for the government to write checks so everybody gets $2,000? Do you have a figure of how much that would cost? How much would that cost to give people who are rich $2,000?
There's no question about it. If we send the help to everybody, those who need it for sure will get it. Those who don't need it can get taxed back very easily. And it's not a very controversial idea. Other countries have already done it, realizing that the need is so great. There are going to be millions of Canadians that are not going to be able to get the help they need through the CERB. It was a good initiative, but the reality is too many people need help, and we need to send them that help directly. The Prime Minister himself...
So do you have a number on it?
The Prime Minister himself admits that there are problems with the current proposal and that there's gaps. There's going to be many people who've been working, and so the 14-day of no work doesn't apply to them, but they've seen that their salaries have been slashed in half. They're only getting 20% or 30% of what they used to make. They need help desperately, and they're not going to be covered. Students who are anticipating
do you have a number like this?
Aren't going to get the help they need.
Look, I know not everything's means tested. Healthcare is not means tested, but we means test things like the child benefit. I'm just trying to figure this out. Do you have a number how much this would cost to give $2,000 to everybody?
Well, this is something that the government should figure out, but the reality is we need to get it to people. And there's too many people that are falling through the cracks. And we know that the current system is going to be overwhelmed by the demand. And what is the point of having a program that's going to be overwhelmed only to say, you know what, this is not working, we've got to come up with something else, when we already know that that's what's going to happen. We already know that the current process is going to be overwhelmed. It's going to be flooded because there's so many...
Respectfully, the public service has already processed 3 million claims. So to be candid, even though they're getting a massive deluge, they seem to not be overwhelmed yet. But just before I let you go, would you like to see this program that is supposed to last the length of time of this crisis, whatever it is, turn into a basic, universal basic income that's permanent? Is that what you're also saying? Is this a crisis idea, or would you like to make it a permanent idea?
Well, first and foremost, it's a crisis idea in the sense that people need help right now. But I also think we should explore a lot of the social safety net that we have has been insufficient to help people in this time of need, and it causes us to re-examine the way we help people out. Given the fact that there's contract workers, freelance workers, gig workers, self-employed, and the EI system of past no longer applies to so many workers, we need to reimagine the way we take care of one another. And this crisis has given us a chance to look at better ways to provide help to people in need.